On today's episode, we are going to take a look at ARK Investment's big ideas for 2021. And no, I'm sorry to disappoint you, GameStop is not one of them. But actually, today's episode kind of correlates a little bit with GameStop. But all jokes aside, by the end of today's episode, we are going to learn about a great market that ARK Investment believes is going to continue to grow in the upcoming years. And we're also going to take a look at some stocks that are involved in that market. So let's get started. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and don't forget to get your free stock on Webull. The link is down below. Quick recap. So ARK Investment, they released their biggest ideas for the year. And here they talk about X amount of markets that they believe are going to do amazing in the next 3 to 5 years. A lot of these sometimes are just brought back from 2020 and they just get re-added with new information. So this is episode 2 of the series, and I'm pretty much going through every single big idea that they have. We're going to take a closer look at the presentation, and we're also going to take a look at some stocks within that big idea that maybe we should look at later on. All right, so today, like I mentioned, we're taking a look at virtual worlds. And when I first saw virtual worlds in the main topics, I kind of only thought about virtual reality and maybe augmented reality. But virtual worlds in ARK's investment is actually broken down into 3 categories. It consists of video games, augmented reality, and virtual reality. So here, I'm pretty happy to know this because I'm very bullish in the gaming industry. And after reading this, I can see ARK Investment is also very bullish in the gaming industry, even though they don't really mention it. Right, with virtual worlds, you really wouldn't think it was in the gaming industry. But based on the data we're going to look at right now, we can see how bullish they are. So like I mentioned, virtual world consists of video games, augmented reality, and virtual reality. And virtual reality, if you guys have not tried it, it's probably one of my favorite technologies out right now. I know there's a lot of people probably just getting into it this year. But PlayStation 4 had this amazing PlayStation virtual reality platform for, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. And when I first put that on, it was life. I wouldn't say life changing. It was mouth opening. How great the information. I honestly felt like I was there, and that has made me super bullish into the virtual reality industry. Unfortunately, the virtual reality industry is still pretty small and based on consumer. It's mainly in just the gaming industry, but within the gaming industry, it's very small within that industry. So it's a very niche market at the moment. So virtual worlds, how ARK Investment describes them, it is a world that is defined as a computer simulator environment that can be accessed by anyone at any time. And they say that this is right now in its infancy state. Like I mentioned, it's still pretty beginning. And a virtual world, the best way to explain it is if you guys have watched the movie Ready Player One, I think it's called, or maybe even the cartoon movie Wreck-It Ralph, where you see all these games kind of together in one virtual world, or like the Matrix, right? Another one would be the Matrix, right? So that's what a virtual world is. According to our research from ARK Investments, they believe that revenue for virtual worlds will compound about 17% annually for the next 5 years. So roughly right now, it's about 180 billion industry, and they expect by the end of 2025 to be a 390 billion industry. And like I mentioned, virtual worlds, they're saying virtual worlds, but we're going to look at it. It's mainly in the gaming industry. So video game has shifted, right? The way people pay for video games has shifted completely. We can look at this chart right here. In 2010, about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 80% of the revenue made from games came from the actual game sales. Only 20% of the revenue came from extra DLCs, skins, or in-game purchases. And it's crazy in just 10 years how much that has shifted. We can fast forward here to 2020, and now only 25% of revenue coming from these gaming industries are coming from actual game sales. The other 75% of the revenues is coming from the virtual goods, from the skins, from the loot boxes, from DLCs. And this makes me, at first I was kind of sad about it, right? I was saying, hey, why am I spending money on a game and then having to buy all this stuff? But now I see it a whole different way, right? Right now, most companies are giving free to play games. And this to me is a super bullish sentiment, especially in the mobile industry, right? In the mobile industry is hitting all types of markets, from first world countries to third world countries, where maybe in certain countries it's not that easy to buy a video game system, right? Paying $500-600 for just the gaming system is not something many families can do, even here in the United States, right? But every family wants their kids to be safe, wants to know where their kids are at, wants to know where their teenagers are at. And the chances of someone having a phone is now very, very high. I mean, I'm pretty sure now first, second graders kids probably have phones already. And this is amazing, right? Because all these games that are coming out in the mobile platform, now they have so many new customers using it, and people, we can see people are willing to pay for in-game purchases. So right now it seems to be a very, very bullish sentiment to the video gaming industry, especially those in the mobile industry. And that's why I'm really, really focused in finding companies that are invested or kind of shifting to that free-to-play style and into that mobile gaming. Now, ARK Investment believes that video games are becoming a third place, and this is more the away from home and the work. So the first place is your home, your second place is at work. Video game is becoming that third place. So according to research, we can see ARK says that about 1.1 hours per day are spent by people playing video games. And they expect in the next 5 years that will actually increase to 1.5 hours. Now with them spending more time playing games, it's going to increase the overall revenue of people playing games. So if the increased trend of both monetization and time spent remains in place, in-game purchase revenue could compound about 21% annually during the next 3 to 5 years. So this would take this $130 billion industry in 2020 to about $350 billion industry. So now enough talking about data. Let's take a look at some stocks within this gaming industry that we can probably focus on. So I decided to take a look at what are some of the biggest gaming stocks right now. And these are ones this is an article by Motley Fool, and we're just going to take a look at some. So Capcom is very popular. They're known for Street Fighters. So Capcom right now is traded over the counter as ticker CCOEF. This one is one I don't have in my portfolio, but I do believe I should start looking at. Take-Two Interactive, they're known for Grand Theft Auto, ticker TTWO. We also have Tencent Holding, which is one of the biggest gaming companies. They own a huge amount of gaming companies. They own about 50% of Epic Games, who made Fortnite. They owned the creators of League of Legends, which is I forget, Riot Games. They own certain portions of Activision. They own a certain position of Ubisoft. They own a certain position of Supercell, which creates a lot of mobile gaming. So Tencent is actually one of my favorite companies in this market, and I'm happy to hold them. Activision is another one. We know it as World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Overwatch, Candy Crush. Electronics, EA Games is another one in this market. So those are some of the biggest gaming companies right now. There's this also other one. I wanted to take a look at maybe some growth ones. So in this article here in yahoo.com, we can see some of the ones that are growing right now. Glue Mobile, Sci-Fi Play. Some of these I haven't really researched, but I just want to mention some names so people can have some information on what are some stocks they should look at before buying. Bilibili, ticker BILI. NetEase, I definitely have NetEase in my portfolio. This is ticker NTES. Singa, Weibo keeps giving me this one for free. That's ticker CNGA. We also have Nvidia Corporation. Nvidia is one of my biggest companies right now, just because I believe this is probably one of my best plays for 2021. C Limited is another one in here. So we can see a lot of great stocks in the gaming industry if one wants to get involved. Next, let's take a look at how they continue here with the virtual worlds. They talk about augmented reality. And augmented reality, again, I do believe it's in the early stage, but we're seeing a lot of companies kind of move into this. One of my most recent bullish sentiment in this was iPhone. I believe on their iPhone 12s, they kind of improved their camera to be more augmented reality ready. And that's showing me that, hey, the industry is getting really, it's moving to that market, right? So sometimes augmented reality and virtual reality are not something that are new, right? But sometimes technology can appear a little bit too soon for the everyday consumer. It takes sometimes consumers some time to, hey, really enjoy this technology and be able to scale it. So right now, before this year, it's been a very small market, but ARK Investment believes by 2030 the augmented reality market is going to be over over 130 billion dollars, and it's going to be distributed between two things: augmented reality smartphones, which is going to make up a small portion. Most of it is actually going to come from augmented reality glasses. And again, this is very in the future. It seems at the beginning, the next 2 to 3 years, it seems augmented reality through smartphones will be the best investment wise. And then probably in the mid 2020s, that's when augmented reality glasses are really going to start kicking in. And this is crazy. ARK forecasts, like I mentioned, by 2030, the augmented reality market could scale from 1 billion today to 130 billion in the next 10 years. That type of growth. Imagine getting into a company right now that does amazing in the augmented reality world. It can be a life-changing investment. So this is pretty impressive in my opinion. I definitely want to find more companies in the augmented reality world. Virtual reality is another one. If consumers in virtual reality right now is limited to the consoles, and they're saying if virtual reality stays limited to that consoles, they don't believe the overall industry is gonna do great. But if it starts coming out outside of the gaming consoles, they do believe this is a great market. So here we can see, right, this virtual worlds was pretty much in two markets. They were in the global gaming market, and they believe the global gaming market will grow about 17% on average for the next 5 years. That's some strong growth, right? I like to invest in companies that are growing 15% or more a year. They're saying the global gaming industry is definitely gonna be there. So we can see right now they expect it to be 175 billion. By 2025, they expect it to roughly be 365 billion. The augmented reality and virtual reality market will grow at 59% annually for the next 3 to 5 year compounded annual growth rate. That is a huge revenue boost, and now I'm really excited to go out there and try to find some virtual reality, some augmented reality companies. Right now it's a $3 billion industry. They expect it to be a $28 billion industry by 2025. So let's try to look at some augmented reality companies. And if you guys found any companies, feel free to post them in the comments below. Maybe I can go do we can do some research on them. Also follow me on Twitch. On Twitch, we take a look at stocks you guys want to look. I go every Mondays and Tuesdays, and one day randomly on the weekend. So make sure to follow me there. But I also went and tried to Google some top augmented reality world companies right now, and I actually found some cool ones. So in these first article, this is by Investor Place. They mentioned 7 augmented realities. So the first one they talk about is Apple. Like I mentioned, Apple, they're kind of moving their iPhones into that augmented reality cameras. So it seems like they're getting ready to do something. I know they're also had talks about doing something in the smartphone and the smart glasses industry, in the augmented reality glasses. So that could be a great market. Autodesk, if you guys are on my Discord channel, which is free to anybody that wants to join, Autodesk has been one of the few companies I've been buying a lot recently, and I do believe Autodesk is a great company, very similar to Unity. Unity, I think, is one I'm gonna continue to add as well. These two Autodesk and Unity are ones that are used to kind of create models of parts. And these models are what actually go into these augmented reality worlds, into these virtual worlds. So these are pretty much the construction. This is the construction site where all these pieces that need to go into this augmented world or virtual world need to be made for them to go there. So Autodesk and Unity are ones I'm very excited about. Etsy, I did not sure Etsy was one of them, but they mentioned here that Etsy is kind of moving into augmented reality in the e-commerce market. I know there's been a few companies. I think JD in China, JD.com has kind of incorporated augmented reality into their e-commerce, and it seems Etsy wants to do that as well. Maybe one I want to take a look at, since it is in the e-commerce market. We have Snapchat. Unfortunately, it's one that I might have missed, but when a lot of people were always saying that this was more of an augmented camera company outside of a social company. Google, obviously, Google with its glasses, glasses that might be coming up. Google just has great technology, and I can see the industry there. Microsoft has the augmented reality glasses. They're also in virtual reality world right now. They have the HoloLens, which are wide range of augmented reality applications from manufacturing, product design, and even surgery. Qualcomm, ticker QCOM, is another interesting one in the augmented reality. They are the ones that create the chips that go into these. The Qualcomm Snapdragon XR1 processor is one that is used by a lot of augmented reality glasses. Qualcomm is another one. And so those are some great companies that if you guys wanted to hear within that virtual world, we can probably do some research on them. And feel free to let me know what you guys are thinking about these series. I'm actually learning a lot. And I have tier 1 stocks in my portfolio, and I believe my tier 1 stocks are now going to be based on at least one stock in each of these industries, maybe even more in one of these industries. But I am going to start shaping my portfolio a little bit different because some of these markets I am very bullish on. So like always, guys, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and let me know what you guys thought. Take care, have a good night, and see you next time.